Off. I'm actually really excited for this one. So, JJ Tass, thank you for joining us up here. Really excited about this one. I really enjoyed the prep conversation for this panel. I think it was really exciting. I think we dug into a lot of really cool topics, and I love some of the things that McDonald's is doing. So just to kind of jump right in, right? I think this, first one's for Tass. How do you guys land on the idea of fan-to-fan communication, right? I think this is a different approach than a lot of other brands and huge teams have taken over time. This is something unique that McDonald's has really brought to the market. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this started back in 2019. We were pitching the US business, and we were trying to find what that brand stands for. And honestly, we'd had a few fails. It was a 9-month pitch, took a long time, but we still were just struggling to find that one thing to define the brand with. And so I did this road trip with a colleague just to go. They told us, actually, you're a bit too New York. We're worried you don't understand our brand. So all right, we took that a bit personally, but we did a road trip from Chicago to Atlanta to just talk to people outside the coastal cities, Midwest, Southeast. We met people in McDonald's. We went to church in Alabama. We went to Walmart, met mums. We went everywhere. And what we realized is that whoever you meet, wherever they are, everyone has a personal anecdote about McDonald's. Even the hardest exterior, the people that go, oh, I never go to McDonald's. You're like, okay. And they go, well, apart from when I'm at the airport or, when I'm on a road trip or when my kid wants, something to quieten down. So everyone has these like personal anecdotes and stuff. And so we realized that, as the slide says, like we have this belief that everyone has the potential to be a fan, right? We can find the fan in everyone. And so we built a brand strategy. Rather than trying to build it out of one big thing, we built it out of lots of small things, right? Which we call fan truths. And moments, memories, rituals, behaviors is a forward mantra I say every day, at least once a day for about 6 years. But people here aren't bored of it yet. So that's what we did, right? And, whether it's fan truths about scratching the bit of cheese on the wrapper, whether it's about the place no one is judging your parenting, whether it's, the golden lights of midnight salvation, like everyone has these personal associations, and you can build a whole brand out of that. And what that means is that we made the brand very fan-centered, right? The guys like to say they were spending too long listening to the haters, right? To the squeaky wheels. They're never going to buy you anyway. So we said, F the haters, just focus on the fans. And that's what we did. And well, I'll go back. We talk about our voice being fan to fan, right? Just one fan speaking to another fan, overheard by everyone else, which as a brand stops you sounding like a corporation, stops you sounding brand to fan, and makes you fan to fan. And that was finding our voice. And then I had one more slide here. In terms of finding your voice, social media is such an important place to do it. And not everyone can read it, but this lady here can, and she loved it. But this was an early tweet. This got us in so much trouble, especially JJ here, by the franchisees. So it says, we have a joke about our ice cream machine, but we worried it won't work, right? And again, when that came out, JJ's getting calls, the CMO's getting calls, but then we saw the fan reaction, and it just looked so, human from a brand, so real, so true. And fans loved it. And so that just helped us find that voice that is very fan to fan. So
one thing that was great based on all that Tass was saying as we leaned into our fan-to-fan strategy is it has allowed the brand to be on the offense always. And we no longer need to be on the defense because the haters are going to hate. We put them in a box over there. Taylor says they hate, hate, hate. We're going to keep them over there. So it has been just an unlock for us overall. And what's great about just the brand voice, finding it in social, we can have this sense of self-deprecation, sense of wit, and it's very humanistic. And that actually has leaned into the fans as we're speaking like one.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think the authenticity it really goes a long way, especially in the social environment. You really, really connect with an audience that way and really connect with the true fans of the brand. So I do love that, which I think really actually speaks to the next question, which I have for you, JJ, which is how does a brand like McDonald's, right, go from the idea of being in culture and surrounding it to becoming a brand of culture, right, and creating your own?
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all can see the slides very well, but yes. So what's interesting, Nico, is we are in culture and we're also of culture. We're both. And I think what has been this creative transformation over time is we are now of our fans' culture. And that probably is the most important thing, because we're not only, as Tass was talking about, the moments, memories, rituals, and behaviors of fan truths, we're part of their lives, but then we are also part of what they love in culture. And so that actually started in this idea. We're in the business of creating platform ideas. And we have had this gift of finding something that actually connects in culture, that people can continue to hang on and talk about with the brand, and also it's sustainable. Our very first one was Famous Orders. We launched it in 2020. And what was cool about being of the culture is we tapped into celebrities who were brand fans first. And when people partner with celebrities, there is truly an art to doing it. And it's not just about because they love the brand. Actually, McDonald's was a part of these people's everyday lives, and we showed them as everyday people. You could actually go buy the Travis Scott meal in the restaurant, and his order was his order back when he was in high school. J Balvin, he has a McFlurry every single Sunday, an Oreo McFlurry. So that was his order. And they were just famous because they're famous people. But it showed how the brand, and we celebrated our core menu. Like, it wasn't like limited time offers. You can actually order the Travis Scott meal today if you'd like, because it's everything that is on our core menu. But what was great tapping into these celebrities, their fandoms, who are also our fans, we were able then to be of the culture. Another thing that was an example of a platform idea is we were able to tap into this memory that people had when they were young and they came to get a Happy Meal. And what's great about unlocking this childhood joy, it all started with this tweet. I don't know if you can see it. One day you ordered a Happy Meal for the last time and you didn't even know it. So thinking about our fans first, this got so much traction. We knew we were onto something that then sparked the adult Happy Meal. We partnered with Cactus Plant Flea Market. Cynthia Liu is the brilliant artist behind Cactus Plant Flea Market, and she has this childhood memory of going through the drive-thru with her friends. So we created a whole experience, and we actually partnered and shared the pen with Cynthia Liu, and we brought our two IPs together. Because Cactus Buddy is their mascot with 4 eyes. Then all of a sudden, Grimace shows up with 4 eyes. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, you're like, let me go check that out. So again, being of the culture and being of the conversation was something that we really loved. And then another example that we have of being of the culture was partnering with Kai Cenat. Kai is the #1 streamer on Twitch. And by partnering with him, it wasn't just him as a brand fan, but also him as a media channel. So we actually had to behave of Twitch culture. And so we didn't just create ads, we actually created 3.5 hours of content being on his live stream. And then thinking about him and why him, we celebrated the launch of the Chicken Big Mac in the US. He is a Big Mac fan. There's a video that went viral of him actually having a choir behind him ordering the Big Mac in the drive-thru. So again, he loves the Big Mac, so why wouldn't you just create this debate of the Chicken Big Mac with him and his love? Is it not a Big Mac? And he took that to his stream. And probably the thing that was really scary is you had to embrace the culture of streaming. So it was live for hours. And so we pivoted, we were in his world, and we had a great time with him and all of his guests, John Cena, iCarly, Serena Williams. So again, we were part of that Twitch culture and of that fandom. And the last slide I have, this is Tass's favorite KPI, which is a qualitative KPI of success, this is fan art. Every single piece on this slide was created by our fans. We had nothing to do with this. But if you think about being of our fans' culture, this is living proof of that because they actually were able to take our ingredients we put out in the world, they hooked onto these different campaigns and ideas, and they made it their own.
I was just going to add, Teresa, who's over there, our head of PR, she was actually worried how polished these look and said, people will think we made them. And we said, no, but that's the point. I mean, young people, you capture their imagination in the right way, and they're going to do stop motion animation for your brand. They're making branded art. So like JJ said, with every big campaign, I look for that qualitative KPI to show it's really registered. I don't need to see the numbers in quant or whatever. I don't see the brand tracking. If I see this, then I go, okay, show me other brands that people do art about their brands. So I was just going to add that.
Yeah, no, it goes a long way, right? Like this truly shows that there are true, genuine fans, right? We become lifelong fans. We all grew up with McDonald's, right? You connect to it. It just becomes a symbol and a status part of your life. And it is really amazing to see this. And I'm honestly surprised that you guys did not make any of this. This is pretty awesome that this is all fans.
One more thing as well, like everything JJ's talked about, from the start, we have a pillar. Everyone has different comms pillars. Talk about the food, talk about value. Make the brand feel big and pervasive in culture was an ambition from the start back in 2019. And again, do it in the right way. We're very privileged to see that happen in all these examples.
Absolutely. So, JJ, can you go a little deeper on how not only did you use the fans, right, to really create and help define this culture of becoming a part of it, right, but how did you actually tap into McDonald's as its own celebrity, right?
Yeah, so as we've been on this creative transformation over the last 5-ish years, the brand has gotten its swagger back. And that has been such a gift of the work and us being in culture and of the culture. And we are our own celebrity. We, yes, partner with celebrities.
Chaos.
Chaos up here.
Chaos.
Organized chaos, but chaos.
And so we have partnered with celebrities, as I just mentioned, with partnerships, but we are our own celebrity. And if you can see some of the imagery here, it may be hard to see, but there are celebrities out there wearing our merch. We did not pay for any of that. And it's just, again, being part of their culture and their everyday lives, it actually is something that we take so much pride in. And then thinking about our own IP, Grimace is having a moment. I see a great Grimace t-shirt up here. Thank you. Shake it like Grimace. But the fact that he is like, it's the year of Grimace every single year, and having him be celebrated in so many ways, like the fact that, I don't know if there are any Mets fans in here. Yeah. Well,
there's one at least.
There's one. It's all good. But they had decades history of not winning the playoffs, making it to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden, Grimace threw the first pitch on one of the games, and from then the Grimace effect was in full force, and it actually was able to bring a whole fandom of a sports team. And they had the players talking about Grimace. We actually lit up the Empire State Building purple. And the Grimace effect became real. We actually put him on a subway car with all the Mets fans going to the game, and they were like chanting, "Grimace, Grimace." It was unbelievable to feel the fandom of one of our characters. Then, for those who know what June 12th is Grimace's birthday. And we celebrated his birthday in a really fun way. And Tass has talked about our voice as we talked about it on social. Our community manager sent something out on June 11th and said, "Help. Grimace's birthday is tomorrow." And what happened was the venue canceled on us. So what happened is we just thought a few brands would jump in on the fun. 80+ brands jumped in to create all of these great moments and gifts for Grimace. Eggo made purple waffles. Carnival Cruise Ships made a purple cruise ship. It was amazing to see people and different brands jump in on the celebration of Grimace. Then we threw a birthday party for him in Chicago, and it was amazing to see all of Gen Z in rare form having a blast celebrating Grimace.
I was just going to add, like, we called this talk "The Power of Your Own Celebrity." Like, this post literally just says "help" on a purple background and got 100,000 likes. Like, I was shocked to see, you don't realize sometimes the power your brand can have if you channel it in the right way.
So, Nico, as you started with your first question being like in culture, of culture, it's great to see our own IP as celebrity. And then one other thing that also was really great to see is we actually launched the Collector's Cup campaign last year. So again, tapping into that childhood joy of a Happy Meal, we brought back all of these different IPs on cups, including our own. It sold out in the US in less than like 2 weeks. So 9 days maybe. So again, the power of a celebrity driving the business is also something that's very important. So celebrating our own celebrity is something we got really excited about.
Amazing. I think even diving deeper into the subculture, right? So Tass, this is something we talked about last week, which is pretty exciting as well, right? There's a variety of different brands in culture and pop culture and entertainment that have actually almost fabricated their own fake McDonald's, right? It's in their brands, it's in content, it's in anime, it's in different things. And McDonald's really kind of took this a step further to kind of run with this. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Tass?
Yeah, absolutely, Nico. One more point I was going to make on this side is, we talk about the power of our own celebrity, about IP, our own equity. And usually with IP, you think about logos and mascots, and there is huge power in those. But all the fan truths that we talk about, right? All the memories of having glasses, your Barbie glass or the Beanie Babies, that's in a way kind of emotional IP, right? This brand has lots of emotional IP that then you can tap into and then create something new of. So again, that's a real lever that we pull. In terms of subcultures, does this work? Okay. So again, I don't know how many anime fans out there. Probably more than there are Mets fans. Okay, twice the amount of Mets fans. That includes JJ. But so yeah, like Nico was saying, we look for subcultures where the brand is already present because that's a great start. Doesn't mean that we have to do something there. But anime, and a few years ago, I didn't know much about anime, but we recognized that there were so many different anime series and animations that had a bootleg version of McDonald's, right? It was called Wookdonald's, Wackadoo, Muckadee, whatever. And Wookdonald's being the most common. And so again, we saw the fan behavior, we saw the fans had put us in there, and so we flipped it. We said, we're going to bootleg the bootleggers. And so we're going to put McDonald's in the real world. And across all our 14,000 restaurants in the US, and actually lots of restaurants around the world, we did McDonald's for real. And so, again, you can see on some of these, we shot 4 different films in 4 different genres. A love story, one with a giant robot, an action,
mecha fantasy,
a quest, a mystery. The bag, probably my favorite tactic, and we'll talk about this later as well. Every single touch point is a brand canvas, is an opportunity to engage with your fans, and it gives them an entry point into a campaign. So to do a bag that was manga comic, again, was just amazing. I've framed that in my house. And then again, the product is always at the heart as well. So give fans a way to engage in that subculture in a way that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. So anime was one. Most recently, another one, Minecraft. Again, our fans had already put us in there, and we always look for that overlap. We look for the fan truth. What is the reason fans put you in there? Is it about the familiar and the unfamiliar? Is it taking something luxury and making it more accessible? And with Minecraft, they're about giving the world over to their fans to build. We're about giving our brand over to our fans to interact with and engage with. And so it felt like we could find an interesting sweet spot, which we did. And again, I don't know if we knew how big the film would be, but we're privileged to have played a part in actually, I would say, not sure any Warner Brothers people here, but maybe bigger than it was even going to be, right? I think that the opening weekend, it was bigger than Barbie. And so, again, who would have thought
that's massive.
A film about a computer game? And then again, I don't know if you can see the details here, but what we did there was take the physical world, take the digital world, and just give fans a way to interact into both. So you'd get a Happy Meal, it had a toy, that takes you into the game. Probably my favorite example here, fans, they would dramatize how to come to the drive-thru, how to order it. They would create events in restaurants. Now, none of this was us telling them to. We just, like JJ said earlier, we give them the ingredients and then let them do the rest. my favorite, again, we run out in 2 weeks in about 100 countries around the world. Fans started 3D printing their own toys when they ran out. Like, again, that, it's pretty powerful when you see that.
It is. It's real love for the brand, right? my son told me all about Wackadoo and McDonald's. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, this is upside down McDonald's. What are you saying?
There you
like,
go.
No. It's Wackadoo. I'm like,
That's so funny.
So he's super into that. But this is where I learned about the anime aspect of it. But the last thing we're thinking about is, when connecting with, some of the audiences, some of the fans that you're trying to reach, right? You're putting a lot of work, a lot of emphasis into really getting playful, having fun with it, right? Being authentic with some of the creative, some of the design, some of the ways to go out to market. How do you think about where to actually put that, right? To connect with some of the consumers that you want them to see those ads, see that content. Like where are we actually jumping into, right?
Have we gone to the last
section?
This one was about
section.
the product.
Oh, we have the snacker. Yes.
So why don't we hit this one really quickly, because there was something really interesting about just the brand voice and the power of social listening. And Snack Wrap is back. Woo. And
I'm excited.
It's the most requested menu item of all time. It has not been in the U.S. consistently across all of our restaurants for 9 years. For 9 years, our fans have come out to post about it, ask about it every single day on social. And so we finally announced on June 3rd that the Snack Wrap is back. And so we talked a lot about the voice in social, our fandom in social. And it truly is because of the fans that it is coming back, and the fans won. And so we wrote a love letter to our fans from the community manager. We highlighted 18 different pieces of their own IP, like their own posts over the years, to truly celebrate them and their continued perseverance to bring it back. And they won. And that's what the campaign is all about. And you all will see that on July 10th. And I was just thinking about like the product. We talked about the brand as celebrity, but like all of that fandom I just spoke to about Snack Wrap, our products are also their own celebrity. I mean, the fact that social post generated more engagement, likes, shares than some of our other IP and campaigns is pretty remarkable. And thinking about just celebrating our most iconic menu item, we put it on the Sphere. And it became the Chicken Big Mac. The Big Mac turns into the Chicken Big Mac. And then just putting our iconic menu items as celebrity. And then there was also something fun about the McRib. And for those who love McRib, it comes back every year-ish. It went away, it came back, it went away, it came back. But this past year, we actually celebrated it. All the pomp and circumstance during the holidays is because the McRib is coming back. It's why you have lights outside. It's why you're putting ugly sweaters on during the holidays. It's all in service of the McRib coming back. So I'm going to turn it to you on the last question.
Yeah, no, the McRib I think is really interesting, right? That's like a deep cultural connection that a lot of people have. But there are people that travel state to state to go chase the McRib, which is wild. A real connection, and I love hearing that you're truly listening to the fans, right? We want to bring back what they care about. You want to entertain them in a way that they want to speak and communicate with the brand, and bringing back the products that we all love, which is the Snack Wrap that I'm very excited to eat 15 of them on the 10th of July.
Yeah, get ready.
So yeah, Tass, tell us a little bit about where you're thinking about actually connecting with the audiences, right, with the consumers, right, and how to actually bring some of this to life.
Yes, absolutely. So, we talk about meet your fans where they are, live in their creative universe, and social media, is especially increasingly where young people find themselves. So that point earlier about finding our voice in social was so key. Knowing how to show up there, knowing how to feel native to the whatever context you're in. And so we have a very simple formula for our social media. It's take a fan truth. Hopefully you know a bit about fan truths by now. Take a meme or an internet truth, whether it's, the question about, is the McFlurry a straw, isn't it? The next one, you remember that oil tanker that got stuck in the Suez. And so it's like the little digger, innocent tweet about chicken nuggets. And then the giant boat is when a Snack Wrap's back, to what JJ was just saying. So find a way to connect a fan truth, a meme, and then a platform truth. And then that served us very well over the last few years to have that voice, to hone that voice on social media. And then the next example, again, we've said a number of times, put ingredients out there and see what takes off with your fans, light lots of small fires. With Grimace's birthday, we didn't set out to create a TikTok craze where people die horrible deaths. If we had done that, we'd probably be in prison right now. So we didn't intend that, but again, we put the ingredients out there so that people could capture their imagination. We had it's his birthday, so there's a Spotify playlist, there's a birthday playlist. There's a we did an 8-bit game because every good birthday has party games. We did a Get Ready With Me, probably my favorite tactic. Get Ready With Me TikTok where Grimace is in a towel, getting ready for his birthday, etc., etc. So just create all these small fires and then see which ones might take off. And this final slide, I think I mentioned it earlier about McDonald's. This is probably the most fully integrated campaign we've done where, JJ loves to say no dead ends. Like every single touch point is an entry point into links to every other touch point, whether it's a manga comic on the packaging that then opens a, animation, whether it's a film, whether it's digital, whether it's whatever. So again, you've got to meet people where they are and also, be native to whatever that platform is, right? JJ also loves to say no matching luggage, right? Don't do matching luggage. Just be interesting and unique to that context you find yourself.
Unless it's Louis Vuitton, then maybe we'll make an exception.
I love it. No, thank you very much. This is great. I do have one more bonus question, which is, what is your McDonald's order?
I'm breakfast and lunch. I'll do both. I'm a big Egg McMuffin fan. And what's really delicious, sometimes you put a hash brown under the top. And it is delish. And I am a big QPC girl. And I have extra pickles and a large fry and Diet Coke.
I'm a Big Mac guy, and then strawberry milkshake for me. Again, always takes me back to being 8, shopping with my mum, and she's like trying to shut me out with a Big Mac and a strawberry milkshake. So that's for me.
Love it. Yeah. Number one, extra burger.
What's your order,
Nico? What's yours?
Number one, extra cheeseburger plus a 10-piece nugget. I'm a terrible person.
Love it.
It's great.
It's all delicious.
I think we're going to open it up to a quick Q&A, but thank you, JJ and Tass.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome and hopefully really valuable for everyone. A lot of amazing things the brand is doing.
Great. Appreciate it.
Any questions anyone wants to ask for JJ, Tass, myself?
You're creating these amazing campaigns that sort of fall under that if you know, you know. Given the mass reach that you have, how do you keep from sort of alienating people that aren't in the know?
Yeah, it's a great question. We talk a lot about subcultures, as Tass was mentioning, whether it's anime, Twitch streamers, but because of what we were also able to offer through the meal or the food, we're gonna let's take Cactus Flea Market. That experience of having a Happy Meal as an adult, that's something everyone can relate to. So that is a universal truth that is also a fan truth. But if you know, and you see the 4 eyes, you're like, holy moly, what is that? If you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm coming back time and time again, and that's why we sold out. So it's that balance that you always have to have with something for everyone, whether it's an experience, whether it's the truth itself that is relatable, but the little extra is what actually makes it be of culture.
Great question. I was just going to add, if you think of subcultures and there's a curve and they're on the edge, right? Fewer people are in them and they're growing. That's where the heat is, right? That's where the passion is. And so those fans are going to do the fan art. They're going to, post it on social media. The broader audience, as long as what you do is interesting enough, like the McDonald's, is that an upside down McDonald's? Then and you've got the right product mix, then hopefully they're going to engage as well. So, but that hardcore are the ones that create that participation and conversation.
And I think the social sphere just takes on. So McDonald's, for example, it was actually the highest sales of any of our brand relevance campaigns to date. And as far as return on investment, was unbelievable. It was one of the strongest ones we had. So there's something in this formula of shining a light on a subculture, taking it to the mass. And if you know is great. And if you don't, you're just having a good time.
Yeah, and I think just to echo that point that you made, Tass, is like creating something interesting enough. If you go back to the whole Grimace thing, right? The Grimace thing is still massive. Everyone's talking about it. Most of the kids that are talking about it have absolutely no idea who Grimace was, right? They weren't born yet, right? So this is all new for them, but it was something interesting enough to really create that pop and drive a brand new interest for a complete new audience that had no idea what that initially was.
There's a great term as well, because you're right. Like a lot of the people doing the shake trend weren't alive the last time Grimace was. But it's amazing the nostalgia that someone like Gen Z has for a time before they were alive, which I found out a year ago was actually called anemia, which I think is a Greek word. So there you go. If you remember one thing, anemia. And fan truth.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Allie. I'm from Genius, the music and lyric company. So we're all excited for Snack Wrap. We're pumped it's back. But are you able to give us any sneak peeks into more Q4, the next kind of fan truth coming out?
We can't. But it's going to be a really strong Q4. We have a lot of exciting things happening. And the momentum is going to be building come July 10th. So a lot of things happening.
Hi, thanks. So JJ, you mentioned this a little bit on that last question about the ROI that you saw. How do you, like, these are all amazing, creative, and like really engaging ideas. How do you make sure that they're also performing, like you said? Can you talk a little bit more about measurement?
Yeah, we've got lots of different measurements for the campaigns. And what has been great is I would say the majority of our campaigns are delivering on the business. And we actually look at a couple of things. One of the main things is based on, it's called Romy. And so that actually has all the factors with the media plan, celebrity costs, all the things. And what has been great is we have a certain threshold that we have to hit. That is our KPI. And then anything above, obviously, is gravy. And if you think about the examples that Tass and I shared, what our marketing is doing is driving demand over and over and over again. We're selling out. We sold out of collector's cups. We sold out of Cactus Plant Flea Market, all the collectibles. Minecraft, we sold out. So it is working. So a KPI, that is one, what you're selling out. But also just how we're driving the business, which is measured in sales, traffic, and also our guest counts. How are we keeping people coming back again and again and again?
People, I'm sure a lot of people here will talk about brand versus performance. Back in 2019, when they briefed us for that event that became Travis Scott, they said, no, we need both. We need brand and performance. So we said, well, we've got to choose. But that's where the bar was set then. We saw it could work. I think with a brand like McDonald's, with a category like QSR, easy to, high frequency, low price. It's actually, you can do brand and performance. And so all of those campaigns we've shown are actually our highest performing in terms of incremental sales and Romy. So,
I mean, if it doesn't drive the business, that's what we're here to do. So.
Amazing. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.